Good afternoon, everybody. This is Dr. Rao, and I've been busy with webinars uh, all this morning and also the last 2 days. Um, Very new information I gathered about AI, which is exhilarating. And for me, the meaning and purpose of life was more important than uh, making a livelihood and amassing some luxuries. They don't mean anything, right, to me. So, learning something new and implementing that knowledge for betterment of others uh, seems more meaningful to me, and I get more mojo and activation with that. Okay, so I always talk about, and that's how we evolved too. So to this, I thought I will bring this discussion, uh, life mission. I will tell you my life mission, how it has evolved and all that. Working as a physician, obviously you want to help patients to relieve suffering. That's why you always want to be a physician, right? So that was there in me, eighth grade, I think. Yeah, that was the time when I had this instinct that I want to be a physician who can help people relieve of their suffering and pain, right? So that became, you know, kind of a goal. And coupled with that, there was practicality too, because our family was kind of struggling at the time. And to go somewhere else and study would be additional burden on my mom, who was single mom and was struggling with 7 kids, right? But if I stay in town and go to a medical college, I can become a doctor there, and then it will be much easier. The expenses are almost non-existent. We had the government investing on each student like a 100,000 rupees for the whole education. They did actually. And also they gave us scholarships and all that too. And then no lodging and boarding. We can stay at home and eat and then go, which is actually walkable distance, but we can take a bike and go there too. So it was extremely hard, right? So it was difficult to walk all the day, all the time. So I used the bicycle, which is very simple, easy, and so all in all, very economically, I became a doctor, right? And that was one of the considerations why it has become my goal at that time. But after becoming a doctor, after practicing 40 some years, then I came to know that there is illness a lot, mainly because of the lifestyles, and also people don't respond or take care of their bodies and minds unless they have symptoms, right? That's a prevalent. Everybody's like that, So the whole system is more like a how we don't care how you get sick. It's up to you. You have to maintain a good life balance. You have to eat properly. You have to exercise and all those things. That's your responsibility. But once you become sick, then we'll take care of you, but not much as a society, as a big countries. They don't take care of the prevention or maintaining the wellness aspect of it. So I thought a lot of suffering can be avoided if you are proactively well. So that has become a passion of mine now. And but when you took the wellness, when I looked at the ancient cultures, they were much more vital in their body and strong, and they were very alert and focused and concentrated in their mind, and they were kind and compassionate people, and also really worshipped nature and protected nature. So all those qualities attracted me to what are the healing systems in the ancient cultures, And I found out that they are have so many systems. And one of the things that they said was, you are not just your body and mind, but you are that inner spirit that animates your body and mind, or your life force. They said that. So turn around with your mind inside, inward, and then discover what you are, who you really are, what is your real nature. And then that is actually the purpose of a human being compared to an animal, because animal is more like instinct. And now neuroscience is proving that you have this instinctive limbic brain, but then over that you have this cortical structures that have developed as two cerebral hemispheres that are having discriminatory capacity of thought and feeling and all that, right? So you can choose what you want to do instead of being instinctive about it. So that way you have an intelligence within you that can really choose how you want to live, what you want to do, and all. So that becomes my main purpose, turning inward and realizing who I am. And they added, after you have done that, go about serving the world, or helping the world, or sharing with the world, whatever term you want to use. You just want to be in association with whoever you are living with, or whichever country you are in, and whatever society you are in, all that, right? So they said, turn inward and realize who your real nature is, and then go about helping the world, okay, to sustain itself, or to revive itself, to protect its nature. Nature here is the plants and animals and all that. That appealed to me quite well. Say in Sanskrit, they said, Atma Mokshartha, that is realizing your real self, and Jagat Hitayacha. Then you, Jagat means world. Then you go and help the world. Hita means welfare of the world. So first realize yourself and then work for the welfare of the world. So that is my life mission has evolved into. So wellness, not just for individual, but also for the systems, for the society, for the country, and for the world. What are the fundamental problems that we have, um, not able to maintain this wellness? How can you be proactive about maintaining wellness and enjoying a long life, enjoying a productive life, enjoying a joyful life? That is not happening just because we are loading people with medications or chemicals, instead of allowing their own healthy, well balanced constitution maintain their health, and then use medications as needed, but not make it a medication dependent body and mind. I always said this. I'm 69. I'm not on any medications, so it's a more like you can do it. I'm a physician. I'm not against the medications. I see the value of it. What I have problem is how come we don't make an effort to keep the medications as few as possible, as low dose as possible, and also try to take them off. For example, there are diseases of civilization, which are high blood pressure, nervousness, and all that cause. Diabetes, bad food. High cholesterol, bad food again. And a lot of infirmity in the body. That is because of the lack of exercise, lack of moving, and all that. Okay? Creature comforts and all that. Then we have a lot of anxiety and not able to focus, poor attention deficit and all that, not able to sleep. All that because you allow your mind to go all over. Just to practice how to be here and now, and practice the present moment, just being in the present, right? And also using the mind as needed. Rest of the time, give it a rest, but we overload with so much information, and then it never stops, right? So simple things of moving the body, keeping the mind quiet, and eating really healthy, vital food, and all that we can maintain our wellness, right? So, but then many people have their mission more like if I get so much of money, then I'll be happy. Or if I accumulate so much of money, after you get the money so much. But then in the meantime, they miss this essential human intelligence of taking care of themselves, taking things into their own hands, and then really establishing what is important, what is not. All that is not happening. That means you are not using your elevated, higher cognitive centers. You are living by your instinctive brain, limbic system. You are succumbing to the instincts, and like suppose you get jealous, you get rage, you get hatred, and all those things. We let them take over us, especially when we are crazy about getting something, competition with our fellow human beings and all that. So it's not like a more or less. It's actual facts. People instinctively respond, react, not respond, react very quickly to whatever happened out there or whatever made them feel like that. They react with these instinctive things, and not bringing their upper, better thinking capacity or discriminatory capacity, right? So that I think we all agree. Even in modern science, they talked about this. They saw this. They said we have this limbic system, which is the instinctive animal-like brain, and we are not human beings just like there. We have a little bit elevated intelligence of discrimination, cognition, thinking, and all that. That's the cortical areas. So, uh, in ancient terms, the lower limbic system is called manas, and the upper discriminatory capacity is called buddhi. So they always concentrate on how to cultivate this intellectual discriminatory capacity, and then overcome this instinctive things that happen to us in life, right? So if you are caught in instinctive responses, instinctive reactions all your life, then you are really at the mercy of the nature coming from outside and inside, and you may be regretting some of the decisions. A lot of people get divorced, a lot of it get so violent they kill somebody, something like that happens, right? If not at that degree, maybe so lower degree also people are unhappy because they argue and they fight over something that may not be that important, right? So considering all this, then your higher mission gives you that pass where things happen, when you can say, okay, I can take a pause and I take a look at it before I really react to this, but I can respond to my duties and everything with wisdom. So I'm asking the question now, what is your life mission? Do you have anything that you want to share about it? And that would be interesting to see what my friends are working in their life as a mission. Not just a passion to gain something, but to understand the life, understand the consequences, understand how that goes, and able to withstand the real problems with equanimity, with not jumping with some angry reaction, but more like a considered uh, judgment that you can employ, that will result in not only good for you, good for everybody else around you. So that kind of thing, I was wondering as to how many people have, or they just is it just to survive and enjoy a few pleasures, or is it more? Most of the people come to that after they have a livelihood and they have few pleasures, and then they want something meaning. They want to be moral, they want to be ethical, they want to be helping social person, they want to work as understanding the great philosophies and bring their own philosophy to life, the wisdom. And but for themselves, maybe they may just want to live and die. That's okay. But then some people, the leaders especially, they have this mission, they have this inner compulsion that this is my calling, this is my divinely purported duty. I have seen sages who have this divine call from within, and they left all of the world has to offer and sacrifice all that to serve the people, to serve their societies, to serve their own, because they have seen that transient nature of all this, and they let it go. They used to, in ancient times, they used to perform what is called yaga. What they do is they construct a brick laven oven, like, and they put all sorts of wood in there, and then put some buttered butter, actually melted butter, melted, they call it ghee, right? And they put the ghee, and then they go on making the fire more and more, right? But they'll be sitting around it, and they'll say swaha. That means I am sacrificing this. I'm sacrificing my materialistic life. I'm sacrificing my desires. I'm sacrificing my so-called instincts. I'm sacrificing all those bondages, everything. So that was a great exercise in developing what's called dispassion, like a detachment to the things, and then liberating themselves into much greater realities of love and compassion for everybody, kindness for everybody, and really developing joy. Just living is a joy, and contributing to the living is a good thing. Because they are so pure, so focused, they were able to realize this inner self much easier, right? So, are we saying anything like, I am going to sacrifice this in this life? I'm going to not to, especially after I enjoyed some things and all that. Can we say I don't really need it, or do we propagate more and more things, more and more articles, more and more, technological tools and all that, and then we make them bind to that? Okay, so. I mean, there are various perspectives. Not that only one thing is right, but wherever you are, you can do that. Herein, I will tell you what the pathways where human beings can pursue. There was an ancient view about this called dharmartha kama moksha, purushartha. That means purusha means human being. Artha means what is the meaningful thing for them to pursue. You can pursue anything that you want. In the four, what is there's a dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Artha means wealth, or property, whatever, that you are your intellectual property, that you are going after it. That's fine, you can do that. And then in the beginning, it may be the one that is satisfying, but after a few years, human beings found them, this is the case generally, they found themselves that's not adequate. They are not getting complete fulfillment with that kind of pursuits. So they kind of went to the next word, which is karma. That is desire, pleasure, and all that. So it's also okay for some time. That is, especially in the beginning, that pleasure is good. But then there's also problem of no fulfillment in the long run, and that's where they kind of felt this is not good enough, I need more. Okay, and so, but then they said you can pursue the path of accumulation and wealth and all that. You can pursue the path of desire and pleasure and fulfill them, but these two have to be done in a righteous way. That means it's not harming other people, but you can do them. So these are some of the people pursue them for a long time, and then they said there's much more than these two pursuits, but the fourth one, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Moksha is that liberation. There is something called liberation for human beings that they can attain it by two ways, either by knowing the knowledge about it or believing that there is something and pursue it. Okay, many systems of ancient are knowledge based. People miss that, so if you really question, if you really pursue your own mind's question, you can seek the truth by yourself and then find that out, right? So then for that your chattering mind has to quiet down. That's the thing. Okay, so these four pursuits you can pursue, but is that going to be forever fulfillment or not? That is where this finding your true nature comes in. Once you find your true nature and you operating from there, then if something happens in the life that comes because you are in your true nature, you are beyond your mind. Your mind is your tool, but you are in true nature. So mind may react, then you will be observing that reaction without being engulfed by it. That is how the suffering is resolved. That's how this is forever fulfillment. They call that Sat Chit Anand, existence as a human being itself. This says it, that is really, really good. And then they said, not only existence, but that is conscious. I am conscious human being. I'm not just a dumb but not awake person, but I'm a conscious human being. And this is bliss itself, peace itself. So once you go there, you have a mind that is stable, that's not reactive. You have a body that is healthy because you don't have all this stress and anxiety from the life. And that's why attaining that Sat Chit Anand and staying in that is the challenge of the human beings. That's my life mission anyway. So you could share if you want to, if you have any particular way that you could tell me your life mission. That's nothing like one is better than others. That's not it. It's more like if you really thought through and then found your own things. That's the thing, right? If you have thought through a lot of issues and a lot of consideration, and you are really living by following your life mission, that's what we want to hear about. No judgment, no comparison, but just can you really even share what you have, or maybe you want to be developing that life mission, or you may just say, I just want to live my life, I don't have any specific thing. Then you are at the vicissitudes of the life. If the cyclone in your life happens and you will be suffering because of the way your mind and body ages, and they will be very, very severe. Even a life event like death will not really affect you, because you could see all live things that are born will die. So it's like a natural event, normal, but then that life force within all of us doesn't die. It will go some other way, right? So we see that. We think all these plants were taken off, then more plants come out of the seed. So once you understand that, then you say, okay, life is a transition from one lifetime to other lifetime and all that. You don't have to really believe anything, but it's a natural fact, right? So our population born, grow, and live and die, and then again the more generations come, right? So that's a fact. Once you understand that, then if the death comes to your corners, then you'll be able to take it as a matter of fact, not make it like a more like a very sorrowful, brain affecting, heart wrenching event. Okay, Suppose somebody dies due to natural causes, you can celebrate their life. And suppose somebody dies by accident, then it's unfortunate. Okay, I have a guest here. Let's see how Terry. Let's see what is Terry's life mission is. Hi Terry.
Hello, Dr. Fell.
How are you?
Interesting topic.
Yeah.
Interesting topic,
Yeah.
as usual. And my life mission
Yeah.
is just to exist
Yeah.
on the earth at this momentous time in human history. And to be the best version of myself I can be.
Yeah.
To shine my light out to the world rather than negativity, fear, and hate.
What is the definition of your best version?
What is my definition? Well, my definition of my best version of myself is to be unjudgmental.
Yeah.
To be heart-centered.
Yeah.
And to try and keep my ego at bay.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. As human being is don't have to be judgmental, don't have to be hard-hearted, or don't have to be anything like that. Yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people think that they're separate from everything else. They think they're separate from nature. They think they're separate from the universe. They think they're separate from their neighbor.
Yeah,
but ultimately, if they realize that unity consciousness means all are one,
yes,
and what you do to others, you're doing to yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. You see that reaching that self, like you described your best version, is itself is a blessing.
Yes.
Right? And then you are not just living just to exist or eat, but you are enjoying all life too.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to agree with other people.
Yes.
You can agree to differ and be civilized about it.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean that I have to be friends with everybody in the world.
Yeah. No, you don't have animosity in the heart. That's enough. But the thing is, it's not about agreeing. It's about the people who are suffering are mainly because the mind reacts so vehemently and they want this and this not happening and they're disappointed and all that. So there's a lot about being in the true nature, which is not your mind. Then you can watch the mind reactions.
Yeah, and you don't have to be perfect either.
Yeah, you don't have to be perfect. Nobody need to be perfect. The only thing is, we don't have to suffer so much out of our own, ignorance. That's
and say to yourself, I am okay with being an imperfect being.
Yeah.
That's in my perfection.
Yeah, there is no perfection to strive for. There's only our nature where we can be quiet and peaceful. Yeah, I think Terry is very correct. Like I said in the beginning, a lot of people are happy just to be. But to be without having the vicissitude of the body and mind is a big struggle in so many people. That's why many of the patients come because they may have a conditioning that their body has to be perfect or the girls have to be in certain shape and then all those conditionings form these reactions in people and when the life events come they really react pretty badly, right? So that's why you want to understand is this all, this limited body, limited mind, whatever it takes to do I have to suffer? No, you don't have to. You can employ these proactive wellness measures. You can really be very happy about it. So anybody else wants to contribute? I thought that was beautiful what Terry shared. That's where we want to come from. It's not about impressing anybody. It's not about measuring ourselves against somebody else, but it is about what is our life mission. And then are we really true to that? Many people don't even want to think about it because they say we have so many practical problems. But if you have a uh, true nature centered, then your body and mind will be under you. You can overcome so many problems. That's the crux of it. And many people miss that. Even they have educated, they have degrees and all that, they have a mind that reacts so much, and especially even if something small goes on, right? On the other hand, the people who understood the whole life, whole thing, like a that is the understanding that you get from the exploring your own inner self. Ancient had the time and had the concentration, and they did that with a lot of people, right? And then they were looked upon by recent scientists, recent thought leaders, philosophers. Why do they bring in all this? Because we still see prevalent enormous suffering, either physical body or physical body illness. Some people take it easy, some people take it very violently, and then that is the mind, right? So mind also is very vicissitude, especially modern times. That's what we are having over. Okay, so it's a question of following what's going on in life, what's happening here, and all that. Okay, so I'm glad he came up. So, anything else? Anybody else wants to talk about? Uh, I was talking about two arrow theory that was first espoused by Gautama Buddha, the Siddhartha who became Buddha later on. Um, for those people who don't know about Buddha, he was a prince, and he was forecasted to be a great seer, and his father didn't want him to be a monk, and he wanted him to be a great emperor, conquering so much of kingdom. So he keeps him away from life's common events of disease, old age, and death. But one time he gets out of the get out of the you know the palace where he was immersed in a lot of luxuries, pleasures, and all the time. And he gets tired of them, and he comes out, and he encounters an old man. He encounters a person who is with the disease, almost dying, and he also encounters a corpse being taken, carried out to the guards by the people, right? So it is kind of three things that he thought he would not see. The father thought he would not see. Sees them. Then he doesn't just react like us. He says, "Why is this suffering there in the world? What is it that prevents the suffering?" And then he goes on the pilgrimage, and he goes into the forest, leaving his wife and son, and leaving all those luxuries, and exists in the forest by himself, and loses a lot of the weight and all that. But then he gets enlightened after 8 years, I think, where he was able to see the light, he was able to see the root causes of suffering, and was able to understand what is human life, what is suffering, how to resolve it, and all that. He said the whole life is suffering, you know and then the whole life is like a momentary, and the whole life can be understood, and then we can live from that understanding. So several years pass, and he was talking to groups of people, and his gatherings were, they called them sangha. Sangha means association, right? And they were the societies becoming larger and larger. More people are coming. Some are following him and staying with him and doing the monk's life, or some of them are just listening and coming to him for solutions for their problems at home, household, education, kingdom, whatever, right? And he was telling them, and they took that wisdom and employed that in their life, and they were able to solve them, right? And one day, one gentleman asked him, "Hey Buddha, you set out from the palace because you have seen disease, you have seen an old man, and you have seen a dead man, right? And you wanted to find out the reason, and then you wanted to conquer that. Now that you have become bold and you have the disease, he has diabetes, and then you are going to die too. So, how is that you solved the uh, suffering? Then Buddha answered, see, there are two arrows in life. One is coming from outside, from the life itself. We may get the disease by agent or by whatever we do, or we get old naturally, and also we get to die. And so many things happen in our life that are coming from externally. That I cannot help. There, suppose you go out and then there's a lightning that comes on you and kills you. Nobody can prevent that, right? Suppose you go on the door, on the out of the door, and you have an accident in this life, you can have the problems too. So many things happen. Life gives you so many first arrows, right? And that we cannot do anything about. We may get wise up, or we may do better roads, we may do accident prevention, all that. But still, life can get you in so many ways. It will come to you not because you have done something, but it is the life. It can happen. So first arrows, I'm not going to help, but it is a how you react to whatever arrow that comes at you, that is what we can control. We have a choice about it. We have choice about our reaction. And that is where you want to develop this inner wise self, which is not going to be perturbed when you have something like a first arrow we talked about, right? Some event. For example, you have worked very hard. You built up this company that's making good money, and suddenly market conditions change and your product loses value. It will go down. Can you handle that? Your mind cannot. But if you are centered in your true self, then the mind's vicissitude will not be there or will be handled better. That's why understanding who we are is very important, and stationed in that, come and meet the light. Then how many arrows come up? That's okay. So you have that mental resolve strength, not mental really, your spiritual resolve. If you stay in the thoughts, then that's the problem. But if you stay in your real nature, and that's very good, and also you can learn from the experience, and instead of allowing yourself to be negative about it, to be weeping about it, losing all the strength, you can understand what are the things that help you to go down and how can you rebuild it and use your insights into your failure as a means to get out of that failure. Okay, so what helps is it's not the just emotionally reacting and worrying or depressing. That is not going to help you because you lose a lot of energy. But you have this kind of strength from the inner source, then you can stop the mind to react like that, and then produce that energy that you have not lost otherwise in the mental reactions. You can produce it. The depressed people are very, very poor in energy. Anxious people are very poor in energy. They burnt out, right? Anything small, they kind of get anxious. Anything small, they go through depression and all that. So, understanding thought, how it works, and how to really use it and stop it is a very important skill. That's why I say be in awareness of your real nature and be in that energy, and then use thought, your intellect, as a very good knife to slice through problems with balance. The problem of the modern medicine is we know so many things outwardly. Technology may be good and all that. But if you examine yourself when you lose somebody, when you lose something valuable to you, when you really have encountered cruelty, racism, and all that, what are you doing? Are you reacting vehemently, violently, or are you cool and take it into your stride? That's a personal question. That's something that you could um, uh, question yourself and see whether what's happening to you in reality. The arrows are coming at you, but are you producing more arrows to put into yourself? It's a simple example. A young teenage girl goes to the school and she marries to have some teenage girls as friends. And then one day she has some problem with her boyfriend and he kind of dumps her, whatever. Then she feels so bad about it. And then instead of getting over it or really taking it easy and then taking some time to find some other boyfriend, she comes and wants to say what he said to all her friends. By doing that, she reinforces the pain. She reinforces her own anguish. And then that gets deeper and deeper. This is what is happening with many things because we lament over, we kind of cry over things, right? But then the more sensitive you are, the more suffering you experience, right? Instead of that, say, oh, let me not react. Okay, he had a choice he made, but I have so many other choices if I want to make it. But first of all, do I understand what is a relationship? Do I understand what is love? Do I have to share my personal things to all people? All those things she could think on, right? And then out of that experience, she could have so many learned lessons that she could employ. The same situation with so many things that we give so much value about it, But there is nothing like keeping quiet, being with our nature, and then really closing our eyes and being peaceful. Somebody said this, I repeated it so many times. So if you close your eyes and you have peace, and you kind of open your eyes and they'll say, how can I help you or others and anybody else? Then you are really internally spiritual. Your spirit is peaceful and kind and wants to give. That is spiritual. But if you close your eyes and you have all these things bothering you, past events, present events, future events, whatever is going on, whatever is and all that, when you close your eyes, you don't have any peace because these memories coming and then reinforcing themselves. That's how we become hardwired about these things. And then when we open eyes, we say, is there somebody who can help me with this? Or is there somebody who can talk to me? Or who can somebody direct me? And all that. So then you are really oriented towards the materialistic nature of everything and not really bringing your spiritual power into it. I'm not talking about religious and all that. I'm talking about as a human being, everybody has this inner nature which is spiritual, which is very, very powerful in that sense. Okay. There is something about these things in normal meditation and also sleep. In meditation, usually we want meditation. Suppose you're happy-go-lucky and you are having fun in life, you have everything is there. You may not even bother about meditation. But you lost your loved family because you moved to the city to be with the college, and then you don't have anybody to support you, to praise you, to do all that. And suddenly you are exposed to a lot of different people. They may be looking at you with a quizzical eye, judging eye, and then they'll say, "Oh, you got to behave like this, otherwise we won't accept you," and all that, right? So you kind of feel the rejection, you kind of feel the slight lack of love, and then you will be miserable, right? And then you say, okay, these people are wrong, and then let me quiet myself down. This mind is bothering me with all these thoughts going on around my head. Then you say, okay, maybe somebody will teach me meditation how to calm this mind. Excellent, you can do that. But if you are in your mind, you need meditation. But if you are in your real nature, which is naturally quiet, peaceful, happiness itself, joy itself, and then you don't need meditation. You just have to be aware of that. So in awareness, you are quiet, you be. In thought, you have all these fluctuations of thought and all that. That's important. And how does it influence sleep? Suppose you are somebody during the day, have so many events with so many people, but you are aware of the mind's movement, and thereby mind cannot go beyond that, and it quiets down. Then you don't need a special meditation. So when you sleep on your real inner nature, not on your thoughts. But many people don't even make an attempt to finish the thought. Suppose you are angry with your wife and you both had a spat, and both go unhappy or take something to make them sleep. Wrong. Don't do that. Resolve that and accept that you are angry. Forgive yourself, forgive your wife, and then, if need be, talk to her, make her also get rid of that, and both sleep not on anger but on happiness and compromisation. If you don't do everything, just that attempt itself will help you a lot. So, sleeping on the thought is no, no. Sleeping on the empty mind, okay, but this is very difficult for a lot of people. But being aware of your inner nature and then sleeping on the inner nature profoundly affects your energy level in the morning, because you have not spent the time thinking about it all the time in the dreams also. So you will save so much of energy, and you give a chance for the metabolic process to heal themselves. So this has revolutionized for me sleep quality, and also the energy that I feel at the when I get up. Complete purgation of the mind and really staying in the energetic nature of ours, which is our self, our Atman, our consciousness, whatever you call it. But basically, not in thoughts. End the thought, don't carry on them. So very simple thing I tell people is do review of reactions before you go to bed. So there's a process I do. So what it is all day I have meetings, all day I have consultations, all day I have training sessions and all that, right? I limit them according to the people and all that, but then I do them with the involvement, with attention. Once they are all done, I finish them as they are done. Suppose I'm talking to you now, I came with a purpose. I want to tell them what is my life mission is. I also want to encourage my friends to come and share their life mission, whatever that is, and then we go from there. But then this is all done, I finish it off. How? When I go into the next activity, I give my all to that activity. So that way, at the end of the day, I have finished already. So, but even a couple of things linger on because it takes a long time before you come to that stage. If I have some thoughts, examine them. Are they any trivial? Yeah, then dump it right away. That becomes a good practice as you go on doing it. And then, is there anything that I need to value and remember and honor it because I promised something somebody, or I told them this will be something I will remember, do it, whatever it is, I will write them down and then keep them aside for the tomorrow, not during that night. So that kind of attempt progressively as doing it sincerely every day. You have to do that though. Then you can sleep on a very very light mind, or few, or best you can on empty mind. But to do all that in one stroke is to not to be in the mind, but to be in your real nature. So be aware of that. That's all awareness you need. Awareness of that, and then abide by the self. They call it abide by the self, and then sleep on it. And in the morning, you wake up extraordinarily energized. Okay, so that's a good practice. I think a lot of people these days are coming because they are not able to sleep. Why? The devices. You get up in the morning, you don't even allow yourself to come into the present moment. You open something and that external news take over your mind and takes you in a network of thought from starting from there. Then you move from that to so many things that come at you. You don't have any idea about how to limit your new emails or notifications or meetings or whatever, right? And constantly exposed, you have no inner resilience of keeping them at bay or not being affected by them. Then all through the day you are involved in multitasking, and then the devices go on. And even before you go to sleep, you kind of be with the devices, and you don't have any idea what to take, what to not to take. You can use the same device for some elevated thinking or some spiritual thinking, and all that. That's fine. But then, if you do something that evokes some anger or some real problems for you, then you have to resolve them before you go to sleep. So, very simple formula is half an hour before you go to sleep, shut the devices off, and then clean the mind, like I told you earlier. Review of reactions, I call it. And then in the morning, when you get up, don't wake the devices up. Keep them for another half an hour sleeping. And then during that half an hour, come to the present, see what's going on with you, resolve that, and be in that present moment awareness, and then open up whatever activities you have to do. Then don't react to them instinctively, but respond to them according to the importance of work you have to do. And also, you can simplify your life according to your life mission. And even though things happen that will impede that, you come back to it. Okay. Affirmations is one way you can do that too. You can write down your life mission. You can repeat that every day in the morning, and that way it will come back to you. And then follow that through the day, and repeat that affirmation in the evening and go on. One of the affirmation I recently shared was something that I gave to my cousin, my daughter's daughter, my daughter's granddaughter, right? So we are all kind of getting up there. I'm 69. My sister is 81, I think now, and she had a daughter of 50 years, couple of years ago, and that daughter, 50 years old, had a daughter of 18 years old. So this 50-year-old had a sudden heart failure, and he died in the arms of the child with a froth around. That's called acute pulmonary edema, which is a very deadly condition. It happens so much. I have treated thousands of cases in my career. But if you interfere with them right away, and if you can give them relief from the fluid that's accumulating in the lung, they can survive later. Okay, so suppose you have a minor heart attack, you can have that backing up the fluid into the lungs, and you die. So if she died like that, a lot of people die in the field still because there's not enough time for them. 3 minutes is all that you get, and then they go away. So EMS systems here we have, they can come very quickly, and then they can put a tube down your throat and save your life. But they didn't have that, I believe. So by the time they recognized, she passed away. Now, my daughter, my not my daughter, my sister is devastated because her own daughter died, right? And then the grandchild of my daughter, my sister, the grandchild of my sister, she is only 18. Obviously, she is losing her mom, right? So she was totally digested, and then she was having this image of her mom having this froth around her mouth and in her arms, and that scene was going on like a movie in her head. So your mind is stuck to that, and then you will have it. The more times you have it, the more it will get hardwired, and then it will come back by its own. So I gave her this simple affirmation that she could repeat, but also do that during the day. So I told her, in the morning when you first get up, don't touch, don't think anything else. First, utter this affirmation, and then at the end of the day, before you go to sleep, these are the two times you have to do this. But during the day, you make sure that you are aware of the affirmation, you are doing those stuff. I said five things in there. Number one was, I'm going to be present. Okay, so I said standing on the mantle of presence. Basically, I want to be present, right? That's one. Then I'm going to give to the world. That is, I'm giving, I'm not taking it. With a smile, happily, joyfully. Giving itself is my getting. Three. Okay. And fourth thing, I'm not going to overthink things. Don't overthink on anything, right? And the fifth one is, I'm not going to expect anything from anybody. So it's basically giving to the world with a smile, being in the present, not to overthink, and not to expect anything. So this is affirmation. I told her, standing on the mantle of presence, I'm going to give to the world like the sun with a smile, with a light, right? I'm not going to overthink, and I'm not going to expect anything from anybody. This, she went on doing that from the morning. That's one thing that kid did, was she implemented what she's supposed to do. She got up in the morning, then she repeated it, and she tried to remember at least to be present. That means whatever she is doing, she is focused on that, not in the wallowing sorrow. Even the episodes came, she was able to withstand after a while. Now, after 2 3 years, now she is a major executive in a cybersecurity firm in India, a major position. So instead of, it's not that you have to be hard about your mom's death, but what is it is, it happened. She didn't want it to happen, and she didn't cause it. But then the brain and the existing people can be protected from the grief reaction. Lots of times grief overwhelms people, especially when you are not expecting the death, when you are so young, people died, and then they have these young people. That's a unnecessary suffering. And also a lot of trauma. That's what we discovered, was if you allow these people to go through the grief and thinking about it, weeping and all the time, they have a actual physical reaction in the brain too. That's what we call grief reaction. And now, do we say, oh, yeah, mom died, she can go through that? No, we can protect them. As a physician, we can help them. We can make them realize that they don't have to be engulfed by the grief. They can feel sad. They can feel missing them. They can feel unhappy. All that, okay. But if you make the reaction so intense within your brain, you age faster, and then you kind of affect your enthusiasm about work. You lose so much, right? I'm glad that kid got one point, is being in the present, paying attention to whatever is happening, and then repeating this morning drill. 2 weeks down the line, or 3 4 weeks line, she became completely okay, and I didn't have to talk to her after that. Okay, so that is how our mind works. And be in charge of the mind, not to be a slave of the mind, and not to be slave of the slave, which are senses. Don't be the slave of your slave. That is when you become instinctive, you are at the behest of the senses. Anybody else wants to share anything? Terry was the one who came up and shared, and I hope there's a lot of new people here, so I'm following them as I'm waiting for people to come up if they want to come up. Even if you don't have a major life mission, that's okay. Just can discuss your thinking here, or you could ask how to form the life mission and all that. Okay. A lot of new people coming from Nome to wife, I think. Okay, at least the traffic is growing. 38 people are there, and I'll be happy if somebody comes and discusses too. So that later on I get some messages, but when I'm here, I don't get them that much. Okay. All right. So if you are satisfied, I'll see you again whenever I can. Thanks. Bye.